Welcome to the Life Codes Exposé, charting the stars to turning wishes into reality, plus predictions 2024. In this video, Anna Kowalska shares what she finds is the biggest block to manifesting exactly what you want out of life: a lack of true clarity. Anna invites us all to define what we really want.
Hello, my name is Anna Kowalska. I am a mentor, coach, and trainer. I'm a healer. I'm an artist. Choose a label. I work with women who are here to create something for the new earth. So it's the new earth leaders. They know they are here for more. They don't know what their purpose is, but they know there is a yearning, a calling that's bigger, opening up inside of them. They want to tap into it and then shape it into something that serves others in exchange for money. There you go.
Thank you so much for joining us, Anna. So we have a summit here that is titled Charting the Stars, Turning Wishes into Reality and Predictions. So when you hear that title, what is it that comes to mind for you?
Oh, I love that. So I want to like tweak things about it for people because I love the title. I mean, I said yes to being a part of this because I love the title. There's so much juice in it. And I want to tweak it a little bit to where I see we are. First of all, we can predict all we want and that we don't actually really know what timeline we will collectively choose. So things are happening on planet Earth right now. We are in this really amazing time that is also very, very turbulent. So we are at the threshold and actually like walking through a window of evolution. So humanity is ending several cycles. If you look at some of the timelines, we are ending cycles that have been around for thousands of years. One of them is a cycle that's based on human design, which is a 400-year cycle. But even if you think of that, right? 400 years, that's like at least 7 generations, right? 6, 7 generations. So everything that we have come from and built on for last 6 to 7 generations is now coming to an end. The way we think, the way we process, the way we create, the way we are structured as society is all coming to an end. And we are moving into a whole new era for humanity, which some of us wish happened today. Some of us wish we could just open the door and be there, right? Like, hey, it's going to be 2024 at midnight, struck the clock, and boom, you wake up to a whole new reality. Could happen. But what's happening is in reality, in our reality, what's happening is that it's a process. We are bridging from what's going away to what it is we are creating. So when I read the title, the reason why I was excited about it is because 2 things. One, it spoke to predictions. And I see myself as a messenger of letting people know this is what we are up to. This is not going to change tomorrow. And the more we tap into ourselves, our authority, our center, our connection with divine, soul, spirit, universe, God, whatever you'd like to call it, the more we can align with what's truly within us. And it's not even a wish, but desire. So I love the wish because it sounds romantic. I love the playfulness of it. But truly, it is our desire. So let me go back to the first step, to the predictions. Okay. Everything that's happening right now, all the disasters, all the terror, it's terrible and we don't like it, but it's part of the cleansing. It's flashing into the surface everything that we have been pretending wasn't happening. And it's happening on our individual levels too, in our individual lives. If there is something we try to cover up because it wasn't convenient to face, it'll flash up to the surface for us to see and transform it and choose something different. So our human self doesn't like it. We would like the predictions to say 2024 will be a whole new, beautiful, bright year. It will be if you choose it. It's a year of opportunity. We are in the portal of opportunity because guess what happens when the old goes away? Void, vacuum, opportunity for the new, right? So that's what's happening right now, but it's going to take something. So now here's the second part, turning wishes into reality. first of all, wishing, and I love it. Wish is so magical. It's whimsical, right? But wish doesn't really create. Wishing is passive. I wish for this to happen, but I am passive about it. So I totally get your intention, by the way. Blaire, I totally get the intention of it because it is very romantic. But I want to make sure that we really ground in the wishing, as in this is what I'm not just wishing it. I am standing in the space of creating it, right? And I know you are aligned with that because we had a conversation about it. So where we are going, especially in 2024, our groundedness in what it is that we desire to create will keep us centered, focused, and on track. If we do not choose something consciously, we will be swept up by the currents of what's happening in the world. But if I really tap into what is it that I wish for, and then raise up the energy, put my butt on the line and turn the wish into the desire, now I am focused on something. And no matter what is happening with the weather, with the economy, with, the wars, it's not over. It's going to keep happening. We are flushing it out. It's going to come up. So I'm not a bearer of bad news. I'm actually just very sober about it, but also flashing the light on saying it's a time of opportunity because people are awakening. I mean, so many people are being vocal about this has to end. This doesn't work. Mm-hmm. I am on a side of peace. Like this seize the fire in all ways, shape or form, including seize the fire in my personal life. So looking at where have I been fighting in my life? With other people or my own desires, right? Mm-hmm. So this is what's going to happen in 2024. The deeper that I can own my desire, the more I will be connected to the current of what's happening in the Gaia, not the earth that the humans create, but the Gaia, the energy of the planet that is already intending for what it's creating. Planet Gaia is transmuting the pain and suffering and depletion into gifts. She was always going to do it. We are just part of the plan. So if I align with this evolution, then I am supported in what it is that I'm creating, right? So that's a simple answer to my question. I could keep going, but I want to give you a space to answer.
I love that. And actually, that kind of triggers for me. The way you're articulating it reminds me, the grounding is so important in terms of figuring out what it is that you want. And so I just immediately brought to mind as you were talking, maybe that's why children and young people are so good at coming into society and then not necessarily just disrupting, but just changing what we're doing to have it be in a better way. So almost, I feel like this connection with self and grounding again, then comes back up and turns into essentially a creation, just like a child would do. And they're imagining everything that they could possibly imagine. And then they pick the thing that's right for them. Yeah. And if they keep that as a young person, then they become adults who do this.
Yes. Yeah. And this has been a problem, right? Like we haven't been able to, and this is by nature of human experience, hold on to that magic. What happens very quickly is we are trained by our environment and well-meaning, loving people. We are trained to shut down our imagination, right? Get back down to the ground. Stop, playing in the clouds. Like, get real about what you want. Don't get too big for your britches. Like, stop dreaming. Like, all of these things that we are taught as kids. I mean, I don't know about you, but I grew up with that, right? Get real. Like, get grounded. Be connected to the real life. Like, you are not connected to what's really happening, in life. Like, you got to work hard and you got to pay bills. And if you're lucky enough, then you'll have a house and a partner and 2 kids and a dog and all of that, right?
You could join me in my misery.
Yes. Right, exactly. Yeah. But remember, that was the conditioning of the paradigm we are stepping out of. So it isn't like, I mean, this what gave me a lot of forgiveness for what's happening. First of all, because I don't want to blame my parents for teaching me what they did. They meant really well. And most parents do, even if it doesn't really show up all that way. All parents really love their children in however they do it. But this understanding that the paradigm is ending it really gave me a space for compassion and forgiveness, and now choosing something new, right? Choosing really something new. And that new doesn't mean that I have to throw away the old. How can I take what I already know? We are the bridge. So the bridge doesn't disconnect from the land that it's starting on. The bridge builds on it one side and then steps over the chasm. So for a while, for the last 3 years since the COVID started in the spiritual realm, we were speaking about the chasm and the opening, widening, the break between the old and the new widening, and the choice point coming to the place where we're going to have to jump or we are left with the old. Now what we are talking about, which I really appreciate, is we are building the bridge, which is a lot more loving concept, right? We are building the bridge. So the bridge is not built. Okay, so let me dive into the problem we talked about, right? Like, what is it that we are really speaking to? The bridge from the old to the new is learning how to live new. That doesn't mean I learn how to make money in a new way, or I learn how to survive in a different way, because everything's going away. Our survival instincts are kicking in. So even when people are saying, I wish for, what do they wish for? They wish for having more money, more time, peaceful life. They want something to change, but they want to keep themselves as they are. Like, don't take anything away from me. I want to be able to pay my bills, live in my home, and fight the wars I'm still fighting, right? Like, I don't want my partner to leave me. I don't want my kids to leave me. I don't want like job to leave me. All of that. Don't change anything, but change everything. Yeah. But don't change anything, right?
We have this conversation regularly at my house.
That's funny.
My teenage children talking with my husband and not myself. It's pretty funny.
Yeah. Yeah. So when we adults get into, but what do you want? Well, I want to make more money. Okay. How much more money? I don't know. I just want to be able to pay my bills and travel some. Like everybody, it's like, what's the first thing? I want to travel. Why? Because we've been conditioned to this prison-like living, where we do something to get something and then we feel imprisoned to it. So I work on this concept of sovereignty, right? Like, what does it mean to be sovereign? Sovereign means I choose something based on nothing other than I really want this. Not because I'm afraid. I don't want this because I'm afraid I'll be evicted. I don't want this because I'm afraid I'll be foreclosed on. I don't want this because I'm afraid of losing my health insurance. I don't want this because I'm afraid my loved one will leave me. I want this, and then I'm willing to create the environment that will support me, environment from within and then around, that will support me in making the difference. So the problem that I see is, again, people making wishes for 2024, but making it from a place of, how do I survive this?
Yes. Yes.
Right? And we have an opportunity to tap into the connection to the soul. So when your soul entered this physical body, it had an agenda. The agenda wasn't for you to have a certain job or a business, or have a certain amount of money, or be in a certain kind of relationship, or have certain kind of friends. Your soul's agenda, and the same for mine and everybody watching, the only agenda of the soul is to experience a certain life, a certain way, and to express itself in a certain way. So for some people, it will be a life where they share their wisdom and they are appreciated for it. For others, it will be a life of creative expression in a certain medium and knowing what it's like to be in the process of creation. For some, it will be making money. Everybody can make money, but for some, it will be to learn the value of who they are in exchange for what they do. And that's exactly what they came for. So when we're talking about beginning to tap into what's my wish, which is really then what's my desire, and what will I say will happen, right? Mm-hmm. We get to separate from what we are afraid to lose and begin to accept what's already in my heart that I really want. What's in my heart that I really want may mean that I may have to give up something I'm afraid of losing. Not always, most of the time. Always. Just being gentle here, okay? But there is always something we get to let go of, because what we have created up until now, 99.9% of the people didn't create from a true freedom of expression.
Right.
They created out of not wanting to lose something.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And then we are on the journey of discovering, what was I afraid to lose? Going through the healing of not being afraid to lose it, and then moving into, okay, I'm grounded and focused on, this is what I want. I want this healing modality to come through me. Like I this is who I work with right now, is women, especially women, some men here and there, but women who know that there is something they are here to bring in for the planet Earth in this beautiful time of opportunity. And they don't know what it is. They are afraid of what it will cost them. But first, you have to start with acknowledging that you are not even open to it because you're afraid of losing something. So begin to ask yourself, what do I wish for, even if I lost everything? Now watch what happens. So one of the things that I do that I do in the process is asking, what if I lost everything? So in my experience in my own life, I've gone through losing everything several times. When I moved from Poland to America as a teenage girl, I mean, we came with one suitcase, so I couldn't bring all my beloved wardrobe. And for a teenager, that's really heartbreaking. Couldn't bring my friends or my first love. So I absolutely went through the first experience of being stripped of everything. It's actually happened for the first time when I was 2 years old, but the one I remember the most was 16. And then several other times in my adult life where my life looked, I mean, abundance beyond belief, happiness, joy, and happiness, joy on the outside, but not really on the inside. And I was stripped by choice. I know it by choice now. At the time, it didn't feel like it, several times, so I could finally get back down to, but what is it that I really, really, really want? Really, really, really want, and then begin to create it. And money gets to be a part of it. Like money is part of the conversation I bring into my work, because even though the earth is going through transformation, there will always be some way that we will value the exchange of our energy, which is what money is, right? Mm-hmm. So I bring in that conversation because we can't do a lot without money. Let's say you want something, but you have no money to pay for your shelter. Now what you are focused on is, again, survival. So focus on what you want, allow yourself to begin to understand how money works, not from the old paradigm, but new paradigm. So now you can go beyond survival again and be in a space of, this is what I really want to experience. I want to experience what it's like. For me, I wanted to experience what it's like to be creative and run a business that was all on my own. I used to be contract. So I always made somebody else's vision come to reality. And I realized, no, it has to come from me, through me, and be my own. I want to be the one to call the shots. And I use this tool called scientific hand analysis, which is a soul map that helps me remember who I am. It's not a predictive tool. The only thing it predicts is what your soul wanted, so you know it's going to have to happen. Only because your soul designed it that way. Like at some point in your life, you're going to bump up against it. There's no other way, especially in the energy environment we are in right now. But I use that tool to help people remember, like, what is it that you really desired? And it's in my hands. Like when I became clear and then I had my hands analyzed, I was like, oh yeah, of course. Yeah, put in other words, that's exactly what I wanted. Now, I didn't say I want a 6-figure business or a 7-figure business. That's not where I play. Yes, those milestones are important, but the essence of it was what really matters. So asking yourself, put your hand on your heart and ask yourself, what is it that I really want? If losing everything was the price I was willing to pay, if I was stripped of everything and everyone, and I was standing all alone at the threshold of my new life, what is it that I paid all that price for? And see what emerges. What is the experience, the feeling, the identity that you want to experience yourself being that's already inside of you, but you are beginning to claim? And the most powerful message usually runs up all the way from a root chakra and out through the heart. Some people will just blurt it out. Some people are just gently aware of something. From this place, what is? Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. Yeah, it came up pretty quickly for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. What I don't even want to go back there. I just want to stay in this space. And knowing the way that things work with manifestation, I really don't want to go back and ask these other questions. So I'm just going to drop them.
Okay.
Wow. Yeah. Can you tell me maybe the most, maybe, I don't know, just pick a really interesting example of somebody that you've worked with where you've seen or you've helped them through this transformation? Because I imagine that part of that, the healing or the letting go of that thing that's got to go, right? Or things, right? That the work that I've done in the past, it's kind of pretty scary. Like we don't even know that we're kind of pushing that down or pushing it back. But once it becomes out in the open and unveiled for you, and you're in a position, you're in the energy space where you can say, okay, I understand that is what it is, and I understand why it was there, but I don't have to have that anymore. And it's just a letting go of that. Even though that part is scary, it seems like then the path becomes really, really clear.
Yeah. Yeah. Or at least
let that go. It's easy.
Yeah.
It continues to stay easy.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we are afraid of giving up what guaranteed our survival, right? So the identity we've taken on, the things that we believed about ourselves that we put there to survive. I mean, we literally put there to protect ourselves. And then and then what do we do as humans? We walk around saying, I am this, I am that. This is just how I am. I love when people say, this is just how I am. I used to say it too. This is just how I am, right? And I work with my clients who have done a lot of work, and so I'll give you an example. And this is a woman who's already done so much work on herself with me alone for the last few years, and still she's facing a challenging situation. This wasn't so long ago, and she says, "Wow, how did she say it?" She said, I would never just say no to that. This is just not who I am." Right. And she actually said, this is just not who I am. So again, she went back to the identity. Only a bad person, so I'm using this example, only a bad person would make an agreement and then want to renegotiate it or go back on the agreement. So she said yes to something. And the second she said yes to it, she knew it wasn't the right decision. And then she created a lot of drama around it, a lot of heartache and friction and just very unpleasant situation for several weeks. Finally, she says in our session, what do I do with this? What is this for? So we dug deeper. And one of the things she said is like, I said, well, why don't you just renegotiate? So that's a powerful tool. Instead of saying, well, I mean, like I changed my mind, I don't want to do it anymore. Renegotiate. Renegotiation means going to the person. Now, in this particular situation, this was a yes to an event that's not happening for at least 6 months. I think it was 6 months from the time we spoke. So she had plenty of time to go back to the person she said yes to and renegotiate. Renegotiation says, listen, I just became aware of something that's not aligned with me being a part of it. Can we talk about it? And the other person may be like, yeah. This is what I became aware of. And ever since then, we've been butting heads. So there's something here. So can we talk about it? Yeah. But you already said yes. Yes, I totally did. But clearly there is something here that's not working. So I would love to renegotiate. Like, I no longer want to be a part of it, but what I'm proposing is XYZ. Right? So she realized, but she didn't want to do it. At first she said, that's not the kind of person I am. That's not the kind of person I am. Well, what kind of person would you have to be? I don't understand. What do you mean? What kind of a person? Well, I don't want to be a person that goes back on my promise. Okay, so you've never went back on your promise in your life. You've never been late to anywhere. You've never forgot to pick up milk for somebody, or you've never broke a promise. Well, no, I'm sure I have. Okay, so you are the kind of person who could break a promise, but I'm not even asking you to break a promise. I'm asking you to renegotiate and see a different possibility where we still have plenty of time, right? So it was this attachment to something that would make her look bad or make her feel bad that she didn't want to let go of. Now, I'll tell you what happened. When she saw this for herself and she shifted, she's like, oh yeah, I totally made up the story that if I did go back on my promise, then it would mean something about me. Now, from that place, she could shift that, say, yeah, well, I'm taking it back. I'm not that kind of person. I'm not that kind of person. I'm just, it doesn't even become part of the conversation. What else is there? Well, what else is there is to go back into an energetic connection from the energetic point, do the work at the energetic field. I love that. Whenever I'm in a conflict, I do all the work in the energetic field. I smooth out the wrinkles. I do all the forgiveness. I own what I created, right? I didn't want to be a part of it. So I created all this, right? Because what was underneath it, and I can see it from distance, it's like, well, if we get into an argument big enough, you just not want me to be a part of it. And then I don't have to be a bad person.
Yes.
Right?
Fault.
Exactly. We do it in relationships, right? Like if I like women and men do this with each other, and women, it's in the relationships. If we are afraid and subconsciously of the consequences of us renegotiating an agreement in a relationship, then what do? We create drama, conflict, and hoping this is all subconscious, hoping the other person says first, you know what? I don't want to be a part of this anymore. And then you're like, yeah, okay, good, fine. It's exactly, now I don't have to be the bad person. And right. So once she let go of that identity part, then we did the work in the energetics, and the situation completely shifted.
And next it just time magically does it, right? Like you don't actually have to do anything because you've worked on the energy work, and then everybody else winds up, well, these other things align.
Yeah. Now, sometimes you actually do get to have a conversation. So I don't want to be Pollyanna about it and say, well, it's all going to be resolved. Yes. And sometimes your challenge is to have the conversation. Like if that's the point through which you grow, your soul will align the things for you, or everything will work out, but you still get to have the conversation. Sometimes that's what gets to happen, right? But when it comes to like, I have a vision. This is what I'm moving towards. This is what I decided this is what I'm creating, and I'm going to stay committed to it. I can be flexible in what it eventually looks like, but the essence of it, I am committed to until it shows up in my life, manifests, right? And I'm willing to move through whatever I get to move through to be the person that is experiencing it, right? So in 2024, that's going to be really important because, again, if we don't connect to what we are focusing on, then we are going to be swept up. I'm sure you've heard this. If you don't have an agenda, you'll be swept up by others' agenda. If you're not clear about what it is you are creating, you will be a pawn, a player, and willing and resistant and hesitant and a miserable player in somebody else's vision. Yeah. But what if you are part of somebody else's vision that is aligned with your vision, and you still co-create, but it's done in alignment with what it is that you truly desire? So this is like, even now at the end of 2023, really becoming clear on what wishes do I want to turn into my reality. Very important. Disconnecting from need to survive, connecting to truly soul alignment, truly soul's desire. My highest good. Sounds so great, but it's true.
Yes.
And now beginning to move forward and creating on the new timeline for the new earth, which at the soul level, we came here to usher in. But if we go screaming and yelling and want to survive the old while it's falling apart, it's like holding on to Titanic while it's drowning, right?
Yes.
I would rather get on a floaty that's going to take me over to that ship that saved them.
So right? I think this is really interesting because I just gave an astrology reading where part of the astrology readings I give they're going to involve the struggles that you see in a chart. Like these are the struggles that you're going to have. And, this is kind of like the time frame, and, some of them are for a lifetime. And, the person who I gave the astrology reading to, she heard that and she's like, but that's just what I don't want to do, which is kind of funny because that's what everybody's chart says, right? It's the same. It's that's just a different way of connecting to that energy. So my question to you is, I know you said you use some tools, but my question is, how does somebody connect with or let me see if I can say this a different way. When we use those tools and we see the thing that the person needs to do, that's what they're here for. There's not really a choice. You're going to have to do it. You're going to keep getting put in situations until you do it. Is there a way to connect with that and understand it on your own? And if so, what do you say about that?
Yes.
Without tools, just like whatever.
Yeah. What are you bumping your head against and you wish it didn't happen? What are you pretending that it's not happening? One, what are you pretending is not happening, even though it's staring in your face? You are no avoiding and ignoring. Face it. Two, what is it that's constantly happening? It may look a little different, but when you look underneath the hood of the car, it's always the same thing. It's wearing different, I like using metaphors. It's the same guy wearing different suit, right? I mean relationships with men, so I use that, but it could be, if you're a man, it could be a woman, it could be a woman for whatever. It's the same person wearing different clothes. And it's the same situation, and what's underneath it, it's always the same. And you keep pretending it's gonna go away if you go in a different direction, but it's always you. So without any tools, here is, I know it's like a plug for all of us who are here on this series, but tools are really useful. I can tell you, and I'm sure this is your experience, which is why you use tools, Blaire, right? Because I didn't want to see it. I pretended it wasn't what it was. I'm like, no, let me go here. Bam. No. Let me go here. Bam. Same thing over and over and over. And like, no, I must have chosen wrong. I must have gone in a wrong direction. No, it's not the direction. It's still you. So I don't care what you choose, where you live. So for me, it was moving. Like I would move to change my environment, but the environment at first was fresh, and I could pretend that me wasn't in the way. But very quickly, me was in the way, and I'll be like, I got to move again. And it was so unconscious. It was very unconscious. I was so uncomfortable, but as soon as I got uncomfortable, I would move. So now my energy got engaged in changing my environment, but very quickly I realized the environment is still looking the same, different house, different town, same freaking problem, right? So when I began to tap into tools, and I used to go into like tarot reader. So this was my late 20s. Something happened for like nth time. My life was stripped away, and I really didn't want it to be stripped away. Like I was like, this is not going to happen again. So I went into like the predictions that tell the future, like when you're going to get married, which I don't believe in that, because I think we still have a choice. There could be a timeline of when there is the most optimal for things to happen. But in the end, I do believe that we have a choice in the timeline that we choose. Timeline meaning everything is always happening. It's not linear. And I do choose when something happens. I could meet the man of my life and still choose not to be married to him. It's my choice. So anyway, so I had that stage in my life when I was obsessed with like true predictions. And I know that's not what you're up to, but like, this is what's going to happen. Like on Monday at 5:00, expect this. In January 29th at 7, expect this. Honestly, life is freaking boring like that. People would live like that. The only reason why we want to know is because we are afraid. And once it would be so boring if somebody laid out every step of your life. What the heck is the point?
Exactly. What's the point of living? Like, you know what it's going to be. So I'm just going to sit here.
And I'm just going to watch. I mean, it's going to happen anyway. I'm just going to sit here and watch. No, we are here to live, to participate, to engage with the life force flowing through us and direct it in what it is that's coming through us in a way that we want it. And then life can even expand to the degree that we could never imagine, right? So I'm not talking about tools that like people want to know what's going to happen. I love it when, and no matter how much I tell people, I don't tell the future. Less and less, but still 2 out of 3. Well, when is this going to happen? Don't ask me to tell you. You are asking me now to take your power away, and you are giving a power to something I'm going to say. That's not what we are up to here. I'm not going to enable that. But what I'm talking about is tools like astrology, human design, gene keys, hand analysis. There are so many, I Ching, that help us understand more about how we are already being, and how we are that we are refusing to be, that is by soul's design, ours to experience. So I'll tell you what happens Now, every single time. In hand analysis, we have this term called life lesson. This is the challenge you have picked at the soul level that you will keep working through. It will truly look different every time. And you came to work through it at the higher and higher and higher level. So it's like a spiral. You spiral, you expand, you ascend, you expand, you ascend. And every single time you reach a new level, you will hit up against that challenge, what we call life lesson. And when you move through it with grace and expansion and allowing and learning something from it, getting comfortable and work through it, now you can keep ascending. 10 out of 10 times, you know what people say? I don't want that lesson.
That's just like my
right.
That's the one thing I don't want to do.
Exactly. They're like, what other lessons are there? I'm like, no. It's not lesson. Like, let me tell you, I can tell you my lesson and you're going to say, oh, can I have your lesson? But you know why? Because you don't experience challenge in that area. That area for you is easy. Mm-hmm. Your challenge is your challenge, which is why you don't like it. There is no way around it.
Yes. I love that. Okay. So we need to know.
Yes.
What would you say about somebody who's ready, who knows this, they're resonating with this, they know this is the way to go? What's the next step? What should they do to take a step forward to go towards their path?
Okay. Are you asking, is this a leading question?
Yes, it's a leading question. What would you say, given your experience, what would you say is the next step?
Yeah.
Moving forward to identifying the desires clearly, and going through that process of going in the path that they're meant to go in.
Yeah. I really would hire somebody who knows. I would hire somebody who has walked the path or has access to tools. And I'm not just saying it. The moment I became aware of a coaching industry, healer industry, to the industry of these tools that we are using right now, I haven't stopped hiring coaches, mentors, having sessions with people who use astrology, human design. And I know these tools and I still hire people to support me because guess what? I'm still the person who doesn't want my challenge, right? Like I'll maneuver it and manipulate it. I don't even know I'm doing it, but I will make it work for what I will make it fit what I don't want to face. I'm a human being after all, right? Yeah. So I would really say, listen, you could do the exercise that I shared with you, put your hand on your heart, you will get clear and you know what's going to happen immediately after. You will say, no, forget it. Next year, I'm going to start in January. January comes around. You know what? It's too cold. Kids are in school. Let me start when kids are done with school. Kids are done in school in June. I'm going to start then. Okay, kids are done with school. It's June. There is a natural disaster that happened. Oh my God, I am taken by the natural disaster. People are drowning. People are starving. I can't start right now. Life will life until we get accountable. And we are not, like, at some level, we do become accountable. Like, I know it took a lot for me to get to the level where I can sit and do my work without somebody telling me what to do. Mm-hmm. I can say I'm there now. But there's still things where I'm like, okay, what do I need to create in my space, in my environment to make sure I do it? So I get accountable. I promise things to people. So I know I'll get it done, right? Because I'm a human being. So I would say, find somebody you resonate with. Start wherever you are. And there are so many amazing experts on this series alone. There are so many people that are here to support us. And it's not by an accident. It's not a booming industry because somebody decided it's going to be, or it's easy to do. It's not at all. It's coaching, healing is a growing industry because we get to be supported. Where we are going, we've never truly been, ever. And we have our own path. Like, I believe in working with people who don't tell me where to go, but support me in seeing what my path is. Mm-hmm. I know that's, I can sense that's you too, Blaire. That's true for you. And then walk with me and help me get through the places where I ignore or avoid or don't want to get involved. So
it doesn't feel good
right. Yeah. And then instead of what I would do on my own is like, oh, gotta do the laundry. No, I got to get somebody in my corner who says, okay, well, how was the laundry? It worked out. Okay, now back to business, back to doing your thing. And I'm using laundry as a joke because it's funny, but it's whether it's your business or somebody gets sick. I mean, we are powerful manifestors. We will manifest a reason to not do something if our reptilian brain feels danger, and our reptilian brain doesn't recognize danger from a lion wanting to eat us to somebody giving us a thumb down or like a sad face on our Facebook Live, right? Like it's the same danger that we're going to be protected from by our reptilian brain. So I would say find somebody you resonate with and begin the journey. There are so many amazing people to support. And then maybe you are the one who gets to be the one who gets to support other people once you begin the journey, who now are floundering, waiting for you. So hire somebody.
Exponentially raises the vibration of the planet, which is exactly what we need to do.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us. I know that you have a gift. Would you like to explain it?
Yeah, really quickly. So when I was going through my journey of like, I had everything and I felt like none of it mattered. And I was like, what the heck is all this for? To stripping everything away 3 times in my adult life, I finally said, what the heck gives? So when I started walking the conscious journey in connection with the divine and my connection to my own self as a divine expression of divine, there were 5 steps that I took. What's my purpose? What's my challenge? Who am I here to do this for? What's the medicine? And then what's my relationship with money? So it supports me in creating this. So I designed these 5 steps and then I put it into a masterclass, which is the gift that I'm giving. I call it a sacred success because it's success, meaning you are creating. Success means I create something I care about, but it's sacred because it's in co-creation with the divine and not just the material aspect of the success.
Beautiful. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.